There is an item on the ballot coming up for November 5th that should be of concern to everybody of faith. I'm talking about Florida Amendment 4. When it comes to issues that are clearly defined in Scripture, the church cannot be silent, and Christians can't be asleep. This is not about politics. This is about right and wrong. God made man in his image, and life is sacred. All life, cradle to grave. One life is not more valuable than another, and all life needs to be protected. That's clear in Scripture. And what is on the ballot in a few weeks has the potential to turn Florida into a state with no limitations on abortion at all. I've actually had conversations with a number of believers of the church who've asked me about this amendment, and there is a lot of misunderstanding. Because, as often happens with constitutional amendments in our state, the wording is a little bit confusing. Here is how the amendment reads. No law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health as determined by the patient's health care provider. The amendment does not change the legislature's constitutional authority to require notification to a parent or a guardian before a minor has an abortion. Now, it's important to remember that words have legal definitions, and by not clearly defining the specific words used in this amendment, the authors of this amendment have cleverly given unsuspecting voters a tool that would turn Florida into the most radical pro-abortion state in the U.S. And they're counting on the church to be asleep. There are many Christians who mistakenly believe that the purpose of the amendment is to protect women in dangerous pregnancies or unviable pregnancies like ectopic pregnancies. And that's what they want you to think, but it is not the case. The title of the proposed amendment claims to limit government interference with abortion, but what it does is it actually divests the government of any ability to protect the lives of the unborn or the health of the pregnant mothers. Florida amendments, sometimes with their vague titles, are notoriously easy to pass, but they are very hard to repeal. So it's important that we look at these words because they'll change our state if they're passed. No law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion. Now, those words take the power away from our elected legislature to make any restrictions on abortions. So not only will this allow full-term abortions, but legal experts are arguing that it will remove the most basic medical safety regulations that currently protect women getting abortions. The abortion business would not have any legislative oversight. Our lawmakers would be stripped of their power to make laws overnight when it comes to any kind of abortion laws. The next phrase is this: before viability. Now, the trick here is that viability is not herein defined. And so based on previous legal precedents, that opens the door to define viability as birth. Then it uses this phrase, when necessary to protect the patient's health. And that sounds reasonable, but health is not defined. What constitutes a patient's health? In the past, emotional stress, financial stress, anxiety, and any of those have been interpreted to mean the health of the mother. Probably the most subtle phrase of all of them is this: as determined by the patient's healthcare provider. Healthcare provider is not given a definition in this amendment, and the reader may assume it means a doctor, but literally it could be the receptionist at the abortion clinic, or a clinic owner, or anybody who gets paid in the healthcare profession. So Amendment 4 really puts women at increased risk for reckless profiteers who would be completely unregulated. Finally, just to make it more confusing, it has the wording about parental notification, and that sounds good, but parents are not required to consent in any way. Just imagine being told that your underage daughter is getting ready to have an abortion, but you could not have any say in this, no voice. And no laws could be made by the legislature requiring consent, because this constitutional amendment would take away that power from the people we actually vote for. Our governor would be powerless to veto this. Our legislature would be powerless to change it. And Florida would have no protections for the most helpless, the unborn. For this reason, we need to be united, and we need to stand for the value of life. As a pastor, I urge you, vote no on Amendment 4 and tell everybody the truth. It's going to be an uphill battle, but this is one in which we cannot be silent. Please vote no on Amendment 4.